Hello, this is Ryan Salazar, also known as Retroizuki81, and it's raining tonight. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm having a little trouble sleeping here tonight. Can't always get my sleep in. Some people just commonly will experience insomnia at times in their life, and maybe perhaps you could say especially for being young or middle-aged. So I've become like that over years, how you can say it, like I become like a guy that can't sleep sometimes, and sometimes I experience minor or regular, maybe you could say like regular insomnia at times, which actually, am I mistaking it for, I'm mistaken the word insomnia for sleep apnea. Because sleep apnea, you see, is where you sleep and then you wake up and you can't stay asleep for a duration of time. That's what I meant to say, apnea. Sleep apnea, or apnea, however they say it. And another problem I have is I wake up, I can't stay asleep, so I get something to eat downstairs. I go downstairs in my refrigerator where I'm living and get some food to help me to sleep. I've got an interesting life, different life, people could say, really, because I don't have the basic needs that I need to be met to just to sleep, to not get up in the morning and eat late at night or whatever. And those needs met, if they are going to be met, when they are being met, they're being met by the needs of a man accompanied by, a woman. And so that's that's why I think I have the problems I've got. And for some time now, it's just it's not a really good thing. But it's just the fact that when a man doesn't have, a woman in his life, he will have these tendencies to not stay asleep. He'll have a tendency to get up in the morning, early in the morning, in midnight time frame, and he will go downstairs to get food, and at like 3 or 4 in the morning, go back to his bed. Then he builds up a stomach on his midsection because he eats late at night, in the middle of the night. When really, instead of eating in the middle of the night, what a man needs is whatever a man needs. And that's, petrifying. I don't know if that's the word, but I don't like the goal there. If it's inappropriate. But that's life, yes. And it does happen. I've got this clock here. I found a vintage clock on the internet, and it does say Timex, but there's one in Shenmue that's like a blue clock. And I don't have that blue clock. I wonder if there ever was an original blue clock. But this to me kind of reminds me of the one from Shenmue, because it doesn't say Easy Reader below it, it just says Timex. There's other clocks like this that they say Easy Reader below where it says Timex, and this one does not. So it reminds me of Shenmue. It says made in China. It just, you know, like, how to say it, I wear this hat because I have an original degree, you know, like, this is a documented degree that I have here in my federation. I guess I should pull it out just briefly to, you know, not supposed to show people this, but here's the problem. They're not respecting my undocumented degree, so I'd rather this degree be undocumented and have my documented degree, okay? It just, that's like the problem I've got with my karate federation. They won't give me my degree that's undocumented. I do believe they have the records of that degree somewhere. It's out there somewhere, the records of that original degree. And that degree is what made me Shenmue. That degree is what made me Tekken's character, this Jin Kazama likeness and Ryozuki likeness. So, you know, it's like my life without my karate training, and that's another problem. They banned me from the Lincoln Park recreational facility for having a disability, I guess you could say. That's all I can gather and maybe say, like, it's not that I'm really disabled. It's just that they're wanting to discriminate, I guess, in Lincoln Park, Michigan, at the band shell. If they're not going to let me have my karate training there. Now, another problem I have, I don't like to say they're discriminating, but, you know, and I'll say this also, you know, quote unquote, you know, they're supposed to be representing Abraham Lincoln. Am I wrong? Am I right? You know, if they're representing Mr. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, they have no business discriminating. And, you know, well, I guess what I'm quoting here about discrimination is referring more towards Martin Luther King Jr. and is not reflecting on as much as Abraham Lincoln, because he was just outlawing slavery, if you go according to history. And, you know, I have some color, you know. I've got some culture, some color, some race, I've got some status that may make people not like me as much, or they might like me more, because I have an ethnic background that's a special one, you know, for being Hispanic and being categorized as that, being identified as that, because that's part of what I am. And because of that, I have that in me, and I can identify myself like that. But I also identify myself with that Shenmue. You see, it's that Shenmue is more of what identifies me. Now, going back to this here, I have this here, and I know I've shown this before, perhaps, but I'll show it again. Yes, I'll show it again. Gotta find it. Where is it? No. Okay. This is the only proof I have right here. You see it says 1995 on there, 95, 10, 27, 95. And then this instructor, Grandmaster here, is deceased. Or so they say, deceased. I don't even know what to believe that sometimes. I don't know why. I guess I say I don't know whether to believe that because Mr. Salvamnem Russ Hinkie was a very spiritual, special person in a way. I just can't believe that he's not around. I didn't really know him really well, but I knew him like I just knew he was a special person to me. You know, he was just special because of that. But that's, well, how to say, like he's the Grandmaster, so he's special to me anyway. But he knew of my talent somewhat, or knew of my talent more or less. I don't really know. You know, maybe he didn't have, how to say it all. Perhaps, and I don't know if any of these teachers were like bought out by a source of maybe some kind of you know, some source, some organization bought them out, and then they just don't credit me for the Shenmue like they should. So you see, not being credited for Shenmue, not being credited for Bandai Namco's, you know, Tekken's talent, Jin Kazama, that's just like, it came from, you know, it's wrong, okay, let me say it. It came from a degree, like one of these promotion certificates, but you see, this here, now, it gives a translation. You see how this is in Korean here? And there's other characters. Maybe some of these are in Chinese. Maybe some of these are in like other Asian characters. But to my knowledge, right here, I just have Korean. Okay, and so it gives a translation. You notice on this degree, these birds here look like peacocks or phoenix birds or something like that. Well, this is what one of our degrees look like in our federation. They're headquartered in Springfield, New Jersey. You know, I don't care if my teacher wants me to start over as white belt again and do this all over again. Then I'll do it, you know. If you don't want me showing this degree online, Salvamnem, I mean, I'll just say, you know, there's just how many Salvamnems, but if you don't want me to say his name or all this, they like to keep everything private in that federation, I notice. They're a very private federation because, you see, I've even got these medals from that year, and, you know, I'll show the silver one instead. I like that one better. But I've got 2 medals from that year I earned at some regional tournament. Russ Hinkie's Mudo Kwan Subakdo Interclub. You see how it says that? Interclub. In 1995. You see, Interclub meaning like it's a private organization. You see that? This is an old silver medal. So you can see it's rusting a little there. But this medal here was earned for sparring. Reminds me of Deep Silver. Because the partner I went up against, well, he wasn't a partner. How to rephrase that? the competitor I was up against, you know, I tell you what, there's things that happen there probably that I don't even want to talk about, you know, because they're so stupid and disgusting that, you know, there's things I remember. There's kind of that. I think I might remember some things there, but it's been so long ago. And when I had this karate talent that was very special, everybody has to know you. Everybody is offended. Who are we? Who are you? Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know, that's how people are around Detroit, okay? Who am I then? Who are you? And who are you? Who am I? No, who are you? Who am I? Who are you? It's really offensive, the people that like that are, it's offensive to me, but it's offensive to other people. Who am I? Who are you? Who am I? You know, like, that's what makes me so angry, because people get away with crimes even that do things that are like offensive. But anyway, the competitor that I was, you know, going up against there or whatever, he may have had a school called Hollywood Subakdo that recently closed up. I don't know who he is exactly, but I just remember that I believe I actually won that match. Probably won that match, but the judges wanted to give him the winning title for that match because he can't handle being the loser here. And I don't know if that's how it really was, but it might have been like that. This guy was just, you know, to me, he reminds me of some guy that was just smoking, and he's just an older man that he can't handle being not as cool, not as good, and there's, who's the hell is this guy coming in here? He's coming in, he's my competitor. Who is he? Blah, blah, blah. I can't handle this. I'm the winner. But I don't know if that's, you know, like, this is what I say about these tournaments. They're fake. They're fake, all right? It doesn't matter if they're contact. It doesn't matter if they're real. It doesn't matter if they're not real. That's the problem here. They're not real. If they're non-contact, semi-contact, whatever, they're all fake to me. But it's just, the point is that they come together and they're trying to promote something positive. That's the whole point of any karate tournament, promoting something positive. And any, you know, like a event with the martial arts, they're wanting to promote something more positive. And that's why they get together and do this. But people, when you come to a tournament and you're showing yourself in a tournament like, you know, you're like that. So I come there very much like that, but more talent than that, actually. And then people get really offended by me. So that's why I'm getting kind of dramatic and, or a little spontaneous the way I'm reacting about this, because I'm very offensive that year in 1995. The talent of the Shenmue guy is really offensive, but it's just because he's that. And, you know, as they say about Taekwondo and Tang Sudo, Taekwondo is more offensive, but that's just the nature of Ryu Hazuki. He had this Taekwondo way about him. Now, this is what I want to say. Nobody taught me Taekwondo ever in my life. When I trained in 1995, nobody ever taught me Taekwondo. The only time I learned Taekwondo may have been watching movies. And that's just what I picked up from watching Jean-Claude Van Damme. And that's what I picked up from watching other movies, Sidekicks, different movies, you know, but I don't know if I learned any karate watching Sidekicks, but I just like to watch it anyway, you know. And I feel bad for what is his name? Jonathan something, whatever. What'd he do? You know, he's already out the door. But what was I forget his name. But I don't want to say nothing, you know, disrespectful of anyone. But people make fun of that guy. I know, like, people make fun of they call him I don't know what they call him, but he's the character in that movie, Bergruski or something. I don't know what they call him, but people make fun of him so much. He's always coughing. You know, like, people are making fun of him because he's got asthma or something. He has a disability. People make fun of him a lot. Then you come to hear and learn that he commits suicide. Well, it's terrible. You know, life and death is both real. And we should not make fun of anybody. You know, I mean, I don't think it's wrong. It's right to, I don't think it's wrong to say this, and I don't think it's right to make fun of someone. That's why I'm actually saying this in my broadcast. You shouldn't make fun of people. That's you know, that's the way that, you know, life should be, in my opinion. And, you know, so this just like, this Shenmue is all about the martial arts, in my opinion, you know, because, how to really say this, if you look at the fight choreography of Shenmue, I don't think anyone in their right mind, you know, like, I guess this is what I would say. If you're in your right mind and you're saying those moves don't mean anything, you're not really a martial artist to me. But that's just my opinion. You know, like, if you're saying those moves don't mean anything, well, that's not like a martial artist that would say that. Because martial arts people that practice this know what it takes to do these moves. And they do mean something. Believe me, these moves mean something. And you cannot just say those moves don't mean anything. Because if you're saying that, you're not using this when you say it. You know what you're using? Nothing. Because you didn't do the moves. And that's what people are not realizing. If you've done the moves for Shenmue, like me, I must be the only guy in the world, or maybe a few other Dons I train with, and they've done these moves. But here I come in as a white belt, and I just do all these moves and impress the hell out of all these Dons that I train with, which is a total of 4 of them. And I impress them. Well, I'm impressive, you know. And, you know, the reason I say 4 Dons is because that's what it was. There's 4 other Dons that I train with. They refer to me as Don because I come in, I train like a black belt, even still 20-some years later. But the big difference of coming in 2019 versus 1995, there's a very big difference of talent there. My talent in 1995 was very, very special and very, you know, very special, but very real. My talent in 2019 was not as special. It was just, it's like kind of more like the talent has become redundant in 2019. And that's why I say the word redundant, because, well, I have to think of the meaning first. It's become redundant, meaning that redundant means it's become unuseful, not as effective. And the reason it's not useful and not as effective is because the talent is not refined. It's not as good, because it is, you know, it's not, it's like, I'd have to really, like, you see, like in 2019, I'm looking at my degree here, one of these degrees, 2019, this talent has been, you know, I'm not like trained as well as I was. I'm not as young, and I'm not trained the same way. But I don't think it's a matter of being as, like, how to say it. I have to have that quality of life, that good lifestyle to really get this talent, availed. And like, this talent cannot be really known or well, like, how to say it, like, the talent's not as real when you're not living a good life. Like, you have to have that good life, because the older you get, your talent, your ability can fade. So when that talent fades away, you have to have a good life to supplement what, your age difference is what I'm saying. Now, my age difference versus, like, so I was 14 years of age, and then going into time, now I'm 43 years of age. Well, today I am, but 2019, I was, what was that, 5 years ago? 4, 5. Okay, I was 38, I guess. I was 38 when I stopped training there, but I started training in 2009. I started training in 2017 to 2019, I believe it was. And thought I heard something there, but 2017 and 19, I trained for like 1.5 years to be exact. I got some of the talent back, but I'm not living the good life I need to be living, like with royalties and that. That's another problem. I've got to have protein. I've got to have healthy diet. I've got to lose the weight. I've got to have, you got to have a good heterosexual life if you're going to do this. And you can't just do it, I don't think, nowadays. Like, imagine if I had all those things being 14 too. A good heterosexual life, all those things, which, well, I'm more of a spiritual person and martial artist too in 1995, so I didn't understand the need for a good heterosexual life. So I just didn't like avail myself the way I had wanted to and intended to women. And for that, ladies, I'm really regretful and sorry, because I'm depicted to be this guy right there, Shenmue. And there's reasons why, I may have rejected women back in, going a long time ago. And I feel so horrible for that, because nowadays I don't take women for granted at all. I don't take women for granted at all these days. But I just really, really, really feel bad about rejecting some women that wanted to date me back then, because that's opportunity. I just didn't open the door. I didn't open the door to them knocking on it, and I should have done. I should have opened the door to them and availed myself to them. Should have had sex with these women, and I didn't have sex with these women because, well, all I can say is I have a spiritual background, martial arts person, but I'm brought up in Christianity, and then, I've got those kind of problems too. So it's like you're introduced, you're presented the planet, the world, in a way that's, not correct, not properly presented to you. What's yours, what should be yours, is not presented properly to you. Like, this Shenmue was not properly, presented to me either. But that's probably because of the way, that's not something I really like talking about, but I just, You know how like if I was to become a parent and if I was to have kids, well, you're gonna be protective of them sometimes if you're that kind of a parent, okay? And if you're protective of your kids when you have kids, even when they're adults or when they become teenagers, you're so protective of them. You don't want nothing to happen to them. You want to always know what they're doing. You're so protective of them. If you're that kind of a parent, you're just, you know, that's just how life can be. And then they can't, maybe perhaps that son or daughter cannot live their lives the way they need to because the parents are so overly protective. But I just, you know, that's just what the problem that some parents can have, and they got to be really intelligent and, you know, competent to not be that kind of a parent so that the son or daughter can actually live their lives. But that's part of the challenges, I would say, of being a parent. Being a parent is challenging. It's not an easy task to do. I would have to venture and you know, I would say, because, you know, if you're a parent, you're going to face challenges all the time, which it's not easy to do. For some people, it's easier to be a parent than others, but that's just life, okay? And I do know that because, you know, well, I'm a son. I'm part of a family. You see that line up there? That's a Mexican kind of a cultural wallpaper. It's like Aztec kind of design, but it's just, all it is just like something, you know, from a store, but it does mean, like, you know, some heritage and culture somewhat to me. It just, you know, and let me say this too, I'm not so absorbed into my culture as much these days now that I've become more aware of what life is really like, you know. But I've become that way in my youth, more absorbed in my culture and my, you know, Mexican heritage, and that I was that way more. But the reason I was that way more was because I'm someone without experience in life. I'm someone without like knowing what people are, you know, can be like, and what I'm like, you know, like it's just, you know, when you don't understand things from a broader perspective as you should, you have to really like read between the lines a lot, and you have to have some of that understanding to read between the lines, okay? And when you can read between the lines, you know, like you know, it doesn't matter if a girl is, you know, Spanish or Italian or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter, because you're gonna see that she's beautiful, she's sweet, she's nice, she cares, you know. You're not gonna, you know, like, oh, she just came up to me and kissed me in the hallway, or, you know, like, she grabbed my butt, I'm only 14 or I'm only 15, whatever, you know. It's like, wow, these girls just come up to you and do that, well, they're interested in you. And, you know, like, those are some of my experiences going back. Like, oh, this girl just, all of a sudden, she just jumps on my back. She wants me to ride her around like a piggyback or something. But really, she wants to get with me. But there's a lot of things about this, you know. It's just, women are special, and I don't mind a girl on my back, you know, but I just, like, you know, I don't mind that, but as long as she like, going back then, I'm like a really buff, strong, young guy. Girls just throw themselves at you like that, you know. Hey, that's fine. But I just, I know women would like me more if I was like veiled the way I'm supposed to be veiled as this guy. And not even that guy, maybe just a martial arts guy, but maybe that's what I need to be, veiled also as this guy. And I'm trying to do that, but uh, you know, see, this is what I'm saying. Uh, these days may be different, but it just, the fact is that, you know, this Shenmue is a special video game. It's special, and the talent is special for Shenmue that I portrayed. And so everything has to be taken into consideration, you know, like the training, the thinking of like this guy, you know. So, yeah. And, you know, like, this kind of a talent is special talent, but you know, like, let me say this. The main reason for me availing this video and all these videos, the main reason for my YouTube channel, RetroRizuki88, okay, the main reason for my YouTube channel, rephrasing it, RetroRizuki81, my LLC, the main purpose and reason for this is to avail the fact that it's to avail these things, okay? It's to avail these things, these truths. It's to avail that I should have compensation. For one, I should have high compensation for this, and even monthly compensation, even yearly compensation, whatever. I should have compensation, recognition. First, I should have recognition. Then I should have compensation. And then I should have, you know, opportunity, even still at my age. Now, I don't know if I'll get these things going for me, the opportunity I need, but I believe I should, because, well, the reason is for that is that the way I see myself is I'm Shenmue every day, because I remember me doing these moves that year, and I did them with a lot of talent and skill, and they recorded, actually, there's recordings, there's secret recordings of me doing these moves, because the way they're done that year in 1995 is like the same way wearing a karate uniform, and when you're wearing those clothes in karate, the power and the thrusting of your kicks and your strikes is just like that. Now, they emulated, what it is they emulated talent from my karate training. They extracted that talent and put it into the video game, essentially. And when they did that, they extracted the whole talent, or how to say it, they extracted most of the talent and put it into a video game, because I still have talent that is not availed from that year in 1995 in Shenmue. Let me say it again. In 1995, when I trained, there's talent that has not been extracted from that talent and put in the Shenmue 1 and 2, even still. Because, see, Shenmue 1 and 2 have the real talent of what they have a real representation of what my talent is in 1995, Shenmue 1 and 2. Okay. Now, Shenmue 3 does not have that representation as much, because I can actually tell, and, you know, see, they must have like some hidden cameras or something in that, you know, recreational facility, or they have people on their cell phones recording the, you know, this talent, and they got compensated or something. I don't know how they got the records of some of these moves, because some of these moves are actually what I did from my training, and then they put that in the Shenmue 3. Now, I can recognize these moves, which a lot of them are ineffective, but some of them are effective a little bit, but they're, what it is it's a redundant talent in Shenmue 3, I would say. And wouldn't you agree that Shenmue 3 is a redundant talent of what I used to be? Yes. Now, that's an interesting word. And this will be the title of my video. Why is Shenmue 3 a redundant talent of 1995 from Retro Uzuki 81 of my talent? Well, how did I say it? What is the video? What is the title going to be? Why is Shenmue 3 a redundant talent? That's what I should say. And the reason is because this. Because I wasn't compensated. That's one reason. Because I wasn't treated with respect from having royalties for my degree. Because I wasn't treated like I'm special as a person. Because there's a lot of reasons why. Because I was never given the respect I earned and deserved in life for being Shenmue. And thank you, I'm Retro Uzuki 81. Let me go on further to say this. I'm not going to close this podcast yet. I do know that there's, okay, you know, like, I'm not trying to take all the credit necessarily for being Shenmue, but this is what I'm trying to say, okay? And I'm not even wanting to take the credit for being Shenmue, to be honest, but this is how they made the game. They extracted my fight choreography, and then they made Ryu Hazuki what he is. Now, I do realize that and let me say this, okay, I am friends actually with Corey Marshall, and I do respect Corey Marshall a great deal and a lot. He's a very cool guy and a very talented martial artist as well. But I just, you know, I mean, how to say it, like, you know, I don't know how else to express what I've done for Shenmue. And he has expressed to me and told me that you would need an attorney to represent your claims for Shenmue. He's told me this in text messaging online. But I just, you know, he's still like a friend and a good person to me. Good friend to me, you know, a lot of ways. It's just to really express these, you know, truths that I'm expressing here. They're truths and they're claims to me because, well, I'm still doing these moves, but they're kind of redundant in a manner of speaking. Like, you see me doing the tornado kick. Doesn't look like a redundant talent? It does. You see me doing these three kick strings. It looks redundant, right? It does. You see me doing these moves. They look kind of redundant, but the reason they look redundant is because I don't have a lot of money and a good male heterosexual life, and I don't have a good life, and like a lot of reasons why, because I don't have the money and respect I'm deserving of in life. That's why I have a redundant life, a redundant talent, because when I'm not respected for who I really am, I suffer. And thank you, I'm Retro Uzuki 81.